Hey everyone, I noticed that there was a trend between the worst performing Five Nights at Freddy's games. So I wanted to kind of draw attention to that. So first, what do I mean by that? What are we defining as the worst performing Five Nights at Freddy's games? I'm referring to specifically reception, not sales. So the worst performing Five Nights at Freddy's game in Scott's original games, I'm only going to be including mainline games for this, by the way, is Sister Location. It ranks about 90% worldwide positivity, still pretty good, but it is lower than the others. And as for the more modern games, SteelWool's era, the lowest positivity rating worldwide is 86%, and it's actually tied between two games, Security Breach and Secret of the Mimic. First off, absolute tragedy that Secret of the Mimic and Security Breach received the same on Steam, but, you know, it's what we've got to work with, right? I also want to bring up two other games. There are two games that are completely gone. You can't play them anymore. And those games are Survival Crew and Special Delivery. From that, we have 5 games that I'm considering the worst received Five Nights at Freddy's games. I know that Survival Crew and Special Delivery aren't mainline, they're spin-off, but I include them because, come on, they were literally pulled. Like, I think that deserves some looking into. Now, when I line up all these games, you'll notice that there is some pretty glaring things that they all share. And if not, I'm going to point one out to you that this video was all about. All of these games start with the letter S. Therefore, we can conclude here that the letter S is ruining Five Nights at Freddy's. And would you look at that, not only do all of these games start with letter S, but no other game does. Only the failing games start with the letter S. So, I was on my way to thinking, oh, I should email Scott SteelWool about this, you know, oh, clearly the letter S is causing this franchise a lot of trouble. And then I realized something. Scott Cawthon and SteelWool Studios both also start with the letter S. This explains why modern Five Nights at Freddy's feels so much worse than the classic era. Back then, there was only one developer whose name started with the letter S at the time. Now we've got 2. We've got double the S's, and in terms of the mainline games, we've got double the amount of S games as well. This is not a coincidence. The fact that the second we get another developer gives us another S, and now we've got more games starting letter S, and it's continuing to fail, clearly, again, this is the issue. So what do we do about it? How do we make sure that the S stops plaguing this franchise? Well, I think we need to make Scott SteelWool aware. I'm not sure if they're deliberately plotting this, if Scott specifically scoped out SteelWool to put more of the S in his games and to sabotage the franchise for one reason or another, or if they're completely unaware and he's just watching it go downhill, wondering what's going wrong. So I think we need to speak up. We as a community need to speak up about the S, because the damage the S has done to this franchise is very apparent. We can't keep repeating this mistake, and Scott Cawthon needs to know this. Maybe Scott and SteelWool can change their names, and maybe things will go a lot better from here. Call more attention to the S, and make sure that we as a community really spread this as far as we can. Hashtag FNaF, no more S. Let's fix this series.